Wow, I never thought I'd be picking up this microphone again. I wish it was under better circumstances, but here we are. Hello, old friends. We're at the Londoner Hotel getting ready for the Jamal Edwards Self-Belief Trust fundraiser, where we're going to be having a fancy night and also raising some serious cash to continue Jamal's legacy and empower the next generation. I think it's going to be emotional, but I know Jamal would want us all to have a bloody good time. So, shall we? Once upon a time, he was just a kid with a loop pedal and a guitar on Sbtv. He's absolutely no stranger. He's managed to find some time to jump off of his tour. And in the interim, from our last interview, which I think was about 10 years ago, I think you've sold about 150 million records around the world. Can only be Ed Sheeran. Hello.
So our last interview, Jamal actually, because I took all of his gear off him, like hat and chain and sunglasses, and he had got a painting of me from that interview for my birthday, but it arrived like 2 months after he passed. But I've now got that in my house, but that's of our last interview when. Whoa.
Yeah.
Wild.
Wow. Yeah, it's like we were saying, it feels quite emotional to be here, doesn't it?
Yeah. I was saying it's kind of, it's only been 6 months, but this event feels like there's a real purpose behind it. It is actually like his charity, and it's really like pulled together amazingly. I've just been down there. It looks so great. Fireball's flown over from Australia for one day to fly back. Like it's good.
Now, perhaps it doesn't need explaining, but why was it so important for you to be here today?
I don't know. I kind of anything Brenda has asked, I'm there for. Yeah. So, yeah, literally, if she hasn't asked, I'll do it.
Yeah. Can we go back to the beginning?
Totally.
Tell me about when you first met Jamal.
It was at I Love Live in January 2010. We had been speaking on Twitter, but I just remember being sort of like poked in the back and turning around, and he just went SB, and I was like, oh, that's nice to meet you. And then the next day we took a train together to Sunningdale to Jake Gosling's studio, and that's where we made the You Need Me video, and then did the A-Team A64. I did the Nizloppy thing at the train station. Then we got the train back, went to Twin Bees' house, watched the Man United game, and then got on a bus back to Acton to his mum's house, and then I crashed at his for like 2 weeks. So like literally like after knowing him for a day, was just living at his house.
Yeah, so you just moved in with him basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
And what was your relationship like in those days?
Kind of like I moved to London maybe like a year before that, and I hadn't really made any friends of my own age. It was all like people that I'd been gigging with were like maybe 10 years older, and then we were close friends, but Jamal was the first person I connected with in London who was my own age, so we just bonded instantly as if we'd been to school together for the last 10 years. And it was just a great little community. Like, you remember, it was really, really fun. Yeah. Super, super fun. And also for people that, like, you're from London, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I feel like he had a community of people from all over that sort of came together and worked under the Sbtv banner, yeah. Yeah.
It was a motley crew.
Definitely, yeah.
In the best way, guys, behind the camera, yeah. I guess, I imagine for you it's kind of a time of reflection right now. You're obviously like crazy busy traveling all around the world, but if you think about what's changed since that Collaborations EP, since first meeting him, like a lot, basically. You've done a lot. Yeah,
I think it came at a mad time because we were working together so much at the time that it happened that it just, like, I sort of left for ages to tour, and I moved to America and blah, blah, blah. And then when I moved back, we sort of started hanging out as much as we were hanging out. This was like 2016 when I moved back. And then, it kind of felt, I don't really know. There's like lots of reflection with it. I'm sure you're the same. I can't quite get past it, you know? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it still feels weird. I still keep thinking he's just gonna like come in or text me about something.
Yeah, I did a thing because I wipe all my emails like regularly because I got hacked like way back in the day, And I obviously hadn't done it since he passed, and I did it just the other day flippantly and just wiped all of our messages, and I was just like, oh fuck, where do I, you know, all the funny videos and everything. So yeah, it's yeah.
How do you?
So this is going to be like a reminiscent interview, but also a somber one, but also a funny one. There's going to be a lot of.
That works for me.
Yeah.
How do you think things would have been different if you hadn't have met him?
Well, I don't actually think I would have had the career that I had, because it was so, you know, I was trying to knock down the door for so long, and it wasn't until meeting him that a door actually opened. You know, I don't actually think I would have had the chances that I had, and I think many artists are the same. There are so many artists that I know got record deals for having an A64 or for having an F60. You know, it really just opened a door, because so many people looked at Jamal as the gatekeeper, and he would give the keys to the gate to anyone. So there was like literally everyone got a chance, and I feel like I really wouldn't have had the eyes and ears on me had it not been for him, because at the point he went, I think this guy's good. It's sort of like art in a way. You sort of look at these gatekeepers for them to be like, yeah, this is good, and then everyone else goes, yeah, I think it's good too, I've always thought it's good. And Jamal was that, you know, like all the people at the record company I signed to, that was the first video they saw. My manager's first video he saw of me was an Sbtv video, you know, like all of these things in my life, all of these pieces would not exist had he not nudged me in the back at I Love Life, you know.
It's funny, isn't it? It's kind of like, you know, the first person to start dancing at a party or something.
Precisely, yeah. Precisely.
It's that funny psychology that he kind of just seemed to smash. Although I feel
That's
like
such a good analogy. I love that.
Like, yeah, it's like,
and also he was always the first one to start dancing.
Yeah, a lot of people don't actually know what a sick dancer he was.
Yeah, I mean that's what kind of got to me. I was talking to JME about this at the funeral. Is like, I wish there were more pictures in the press, because all the BBC pictures were all very like serious, because he was obviously a very accomplished businessman. But the Jamal that everyone else knew was always like belly laughing, like always, and he had some moves.
Oh my God, he loved to skank, all right. I feel like, yeah, and he proper like cut shapes. Yeah. I would practice on YouTube to try and copy, but I never succeeded. I feel like a lot of people watching this would actually say, come on, you're so talented, you would have made it anyway. But do you think it just would have been in a different way then?
No, I don't know, because I feel like talent is only allowed to build if opportunities are right. Like you only achieve better than you've done if like there's something to work towards. So I was just doing the same thing, and he opened this little door, and then I went, fuck, I've got to work harder, and I've got to do more, and I've got to work with these people, and then going through. So I really don't think, I always wanted to be a musician, and I always would have ended up being a musician, but it's so difficult in the music industry to have any sort of eyes on you. And you know, like I was gigging every night of the week and everyone had an acoustic guitar, and everyone was playing these shows, and there was like 6 people on every bill that I was playing. And as soon as I did an SB video, it was like A&Rs were coming to my gigs, artists wanted to work with me. Example took me on tour for seeing an SB video. You know, like there's so many different dominoes that fell just from the nudge in the back at I Love Life. Yeah.
I guess it was about establishing you as a guitar player in the grime scene rather than
Totally. And he legitimized that by just, he is known and loved by everyone, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you feel comfortable, tell me a bit about what your relationship was like with Jamal most recently. It sounds like you were hanging out quite a lot.
Yeah, so when I moved to America for like most of 2013, 2014 and 2015, and we were obviously in touch the whole time, and whenever I was back, we would hang. But then when I moved back in 2016, he would come to Suffolk and listen to things. I would come up to London to see him at Brenda's house and stuff. And then I was sort of in London full time from sort of the end of the pandemic, and I moved west, so he was just always around the corner. So but he would do things recently, like, you know, he'd hit me up and be like, do you want to have lunch with Quangface? He really wants some advice. And he'd just like take me to lunch with Quangface, or he took me to Edmonton to do a photo shoot with Tion Wayne. Like, he was just the Jamal we always knew. He was just the plug. And we were doing that Russ video. He was obviously doing all his DJing stuff. So we were going, there's so many stories of people we were going to this, but we had talked about like I really wanted to get him on like a proper dance track, like Jamal Hartman featuring me, and we'll just do that. And then there's so many plans and so many ideas that just such a shame that none of them see fruition.
It's funny because Jamal has obviously been on a journey alongside you. You know, I guess back in the day, it was like hooking him up with the collaborations EP. And then most recently, it's like, do you want to meet Tion Wayne? So it's like he just became the bigger connector.
Yeah, it was mad because he kind of said to himself, like even with like the Fireboy thing, I remember he messaged me on like a Monday and went, there's this song that they want remixed, and then sent me the Peru tune, and I was like, cool, like when do they need it by? And he's like, last week. And I was like, fuck. So I literally wrote it that day, sent him a voice note of it, and he was like, yeah, perfect. Recorded the next day and sent it back, and like he was just the ultimate I mean, I always joked that he was the plug, you know. He just knew everyone and was always like, the Peru thing also, like he gained nothing from that other than just being like, these are my friends and these are my friends, I'm going to put that together. And it's just, I mean, that's why I really wanted him in the video at the beginning, you know. It's me and him at the Tiki Bar, and yeah, it's good.
Yeah. I guess he wouldn't have got this far without that passion. He actually just loved introducing people.
Yeah, and do you know what baffled me about like even going to his funeral or memorial, or like or even just being in, when the week that he passed away, I went to the mural. Like I was just at Brenda's all week, so I went to the mural whenever in the day, from 9 a.m. or 11 a.m. or like 3 p.m. or like midnight, and there was always people there. And always people were like, yeah, he was giving me advice and messaging me. And I'm like, the bloke must have been in touch with like thousands of people and giving them all his time. Like, it's really impressive.
Yeah. Even when he passed away, it seemed it was like all facets of society in a way. It's like from the royals to like, your mate's younger brother that's trying to be a rapper. Like, it's quite prolific.
Yeah, really is. But no, but even if I was, like, one of the last times we like properly hung out was maybe like 2 months before he passed away. We went to Tiki Bar and then went to Dave Chappelle. And then when we were at Tiki Bar, we had someone came up to us, like, who's from Acton, and he was like, oh yeah, give him advice and stuff, and gave his email address out. And then I was like, oh, you should get her on for an A64, and he was like, fuck, I should bring A64 back, and she should be the first one, and blah blah blah. But yeah, just literally anyone.
Yeah. What would you say you learnt from Jamal?
I think that, and especially now, like, what is your legacy? Like, I remember him when he was alive, and he would go on TV and people would like mention his net worth and stuff like that. And since he's passed away, like, no one talks about his net worth, and no one talks about things that he owned. Everyone talks about things that he did. So it really like hammers home that like money, things, luxury goods, things you aspire to, whether it be a house or whether it be a car or none of that matters, because all that you're left behind with are the love that you leave. And people are sharing stories of Jamal and things that he's done for them, and no one's saying, yeah, but he was worth this and he was doing that. Like, everyone's just like, he was just a great guy. And I think that's what I've taken away most from it, is that's what you should strive to do in life, is just be that person.
Yeah, I guess what you truly leave is how you make people feel.
Totally. Because no one cares about the other stuff, No one cares. Like, people think they do, but they don't. It's all about that, yeah.
And what are your plans to work with the trust going forward then?
I think whatever they kind of need from me. I mean, like, when Brenda and Tanisha were basically talking about setting it up the week that he passed, they were sort of saying, what should we do and what can we do? And so I would love for this to be an annual event. I'd love for them to do lots of events, but I think it's a great trust. It does great things, and it supports his passions. And for me to keep his legacy going, it should be supporting things that he's passionate in, and also just remembering him as a person, because I think every good deed that the charity does sort of goes back into the legend that is Jamal.
And keeping him alive, I guess.
Totally, yeah. Totally.
I know there's a lot of memories, but do you have a favorite one of Jamal?
I mean, yeah, there's so many to draw from. There was one night, I mean, this is like one of the recent ones, but we went out. I have a pool table at my house, and we'd gone out And he'd ordered, like, you know, Jamal, he ordered everything on the menu, like everything, and he'd get it all in front of him, and he'd just kind of be eating it like this until it was all gone. It was incredible, the amount that bloke could eat. Yeah. And then, you know, we drunk, like, I never drink Hennessy, really, but we drunk Hennessy. Anything can happen with, you know, apple juice, and just gone. Got back to mine, and it was like a night of reminiscing where he would, like, get up, like, Wretch's F64, and we'd both rap it word for word whilst playing pool, or he'd get up, like, Gigs and Skepta, Look Out, and then we'd both rap it word for word. And we did that for, like, until probably, like, 3 or 4 a.m. And that's, like, one of my best memories of him. But there's so many back in the day as well. Like, we both had said to each other when we were, I think I was, like, 19, and all of our mates were going on, like, the lads Ibiza trips and blah, blah, blah. And we were like, fuck, like, no one's asking us to go. Should we just go? And he was like, yeah. And then we chose, I mean, God knows why we fucking chose it. It's so not me or Jamal, but we chose Marbella. And I remember we shared a, like, little flat apartment in Marbella, but everything was, like, mad expensive. So we kind of got there and we were like, well, we can't really do anything. So we just sort of walked around the streets. I think we went to, like, one club. Yeah. Sort of, like, blagged restaurants with people that he kind of knew as well. But that was great, because that was, like, my first and probably only lads holiday.
Jokes. Yeah, I actually remember when you guys went on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, I felt so out of place. I remember being in a club being like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Like, what do I do? No one can hear you talk. Can't afford any drinks, you know.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. And final question. If you had to sum up Jamal in one word, what would that be?
I think it's just heart, isn't it? He just had a lot of heart. But, like, the first word that came to mind was energetic, because, like, the energy was just always there. Did he ever send you the thread of him at I can't remember where he was in the Caribbean, but he was, like, maybe at a Soho House launch out there. Have you seen the thread of that?
No.
Where it's just him at, like, breakfast. He must have sent it to a few people, but it's him at breakfast, and he's, like, filming the guy that's, like, serving him, and he's like, yes, my brother, and, like, bring him drinks, and the day just gets more and more chaotic, and, like, yeah, that's, like, one of the things I'm really sad that I wiped, you know. I wish I could go. When he passed away, I went back and watched that so many times.
Yeah, he did have the craziest energy.
Yeah. How about you? Like, what's your best memory of Jamal?
I think my best memory is the dancing. The last time I saw him, I ran into him. It was 4 a.m. at Egg. It was my birthday, and I was, like, sitting on a sofa with one of my best mates, and he just comes up to me skanking. And I was like, hi, mate. Just the energy and the smile, you know, the massive smile and the teeth. Yeah, it's beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing those lovely words and excellent stories. I'm excited for tonight.
Mate, the Dave Chappelle night was pretty amazing as well. We sort of, like, sat, me and him, cross-legged side of stage and watched it. And, yeah, just some great... I just really miss him. Miss him.
Silliness as well is what I miss.
So silly. Great jokes.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.